Now, the virtual reality industry as we know it is about 3 or 4 years old, and I wonder if exclusivity has hurt the industry more than helped it. And this was brought up in the book, The History of the Future by Blake Harris. We talked about this book a few weeks ago. Palmer Luckey, who was the founder of Oculus, was not happy about the fact that Oculus was going to lock down its platform and not allow developers to make their games work on other VR systems. You can get a full list of Oculus exclusive games there up on screen. And then Oculus went further and tried to shut down an open source project that allowed those Oculus games to run on an HTC Vive, for example. They backed off on that effort to shut down the open source project, but you still have to buy those games directly at Oculus, and it's not always a perfect conversion over to the Vive when you are running with that software layer. It's called Revive. Sony also has paid off developers to remain exclusive to their platform as well, and you can get a list of PS4 exclusives up on the screen there. And I wonder if the fact that people haven't adopted VR all that much is that there's a limit to what experiences you can have depending on what headset you might have chosen. So if you're on the PlayStation, for example, you're not going to see all those Oculus exclusives. If you're on the Vive, you may not get either the PlayStation or the Oculus exclusives. And there's been just a limit in experiences as a result of this. And to some degree, I think sales have likely been hurt. And it's probably cost Facebook, who owns Oculus, and Sony a lot more money perhaps than they anticipated, because in paying these developers, they lost money on that effort. They probably aren't selling as many titles because the adoption rate isn't all that there. And I think the exclusivity has really slowed down things for what I think is a very cool and fun technology. Another example are some of the things that are happening just with VR experiences within software that is available cross-platform. So for example, Star Wars Battlefront has an awesome X-Wing VR mission that's only available on the Sony PS4, even though Battlefront is available on multiple platforms. So I can get Battlefront on my PC, but I can't get the VR experience on the PC. Another good example is the recently released Ace Combat 7, which is available, of course, on the PS4 and on the PC, but the VR experience is PS4 only. I'm hoping that's a window thing where we might see the VR experience on PC later, but it kills me that this would be an awesome thing to play on my Vive or on my future Valve Index device, and I can't get that experience here because I don't own the right hardware. And that to me is very, very limiting, and again, I think hurting the VR industry overall. Now, we are seeing, though, some efforts by fans to do more with Star Wars at least, and this was just released over the weekend on May 4th. A college project on motion sickness released this awesome X-Wing VR simulator. It's not perfect by any means, but it's the best we've got right now on the PC, and it actually is a fairly fun experience. You start off far away from the Death Star fighting the TIE fighters, and then you work your way down into the trench. It kind of mirrors the Star Wars arcade game. It needs some work. It'd be great for these college kids to release this into the public domain, or at least as an open source project to allow this to be developed further, because I can tell you Electronic Arts is never going to give us this, because they probably have some deal with Sony preventing that Battlefront VR extension from getting released out to PC. And this is the kind of stuff that people need to be able to adopt VR. I think it's crazy that we are, again, 3 or 4 years into PC-based virtual reality and we still don't have an X-Wing game. That is just malpractice in my opinion. So that's where things need to go. Now, one good example of how VR is being used properly is the upcoming No Man's Sky VR update. This looks awesome. They have really done a lot with this game to win back the fans and maybe attract some new ones. And this will be the entire No Man's Sky experience in virtual reality. It will be available on the PS4, but also on the PC at the same time. And this is going to be a lot of fun. And I'm looking forward to playing with this when it's released a little bit later this summer.
This channel is brought to you by the Lon.TV supporters, including gold-level supporters, the Four Guys with Quarters podcast, Tom Albrecht, and Kalyan Kumar. If you want to help the channel, you can by contributing as little as $1 a month. Head over to Lon.TV/support to learn more. And don't forget to subscribe. Visit Lon.TV/S.